Kyarel is a half-demon, half-elf who is first introduced in Wrath of the Assassin. He meets up with young Tamaray, who is part of my secondary group of characters that are introduced in Wrath of the Assassin. Currently, Tamaray's story isn't as exciting as Setro's might be, but that changes further down the line, and it starts to get interesting once he meets Kyarel. Kyarel is unique. He's not a gag character, but he seems to be almost too aware of his surroundings and fictional choices that I might make. He would be the type to question strange actions from characters. For example, let's say Kyarel meets up with a villain who tends to monologue about his villainous plans. Kyarel will be the type to say, "You know you've captured us, right? You could just kill us right now before giving us time to come up with a means of escape." Almost as if he's helping the villain try to be a better villain. He's the type to question why there might be chests in a deep, dark cave. He'd be the type to question why there might be torches lit in places where there aren't supposed to have been any activity in a long time. You go to these ancient ruins where there hasn't been any activity, and there might be some lights, some torches still lit, and Kyarel would be the type to say, "Who lit those torches?" And in the words of a couple channels that I have watched, they would say Kyarel would be great at cinema scenes. But this is in a movie, so let's say book scenes, maybe. Kyarel would be great at book scenes, whatever. But that's the joke. Kyarel is almost too aware of what's going on, and he will talk out about it. He's not a good person, but he's also not a bad person, if that makes sense. Kyarel wants to enjoy his life, as he does. He is something of a bounty hunter / mercenary who works for the highest bidder, and currently that highest bidder is someone who is very concerned with the potential futureness of the future, and he has hired Kyarel to take care of some business and follow Tamaray around for a while. Information gathering, things of that nature. Will he take part actively in any of the crusades against the Empire? Will he take a personal stake in anything that goes on from thenceforth? Well, to talk about that, let's talk about where he comes from. Like Aleph, like Fang, like like Taywin, like a couple other characters, Kyarel comes from the old RP era days. Kyarel was first introduced in Season 3 of the old RP era days, which took place roughly between 2015 to 2017, the beginning of 2017. Somewhere around then, Kyarel was created, and I created him to basically be like the funny man, but not as much of a breakout gag character like, say, Deadpool would be. He's not on that level. He's not on Gistel's level. But he is the funny man in that he will point all that crap out, as I've said before. I made him to be someone who could either be on your side or on the enemy's side. It all depends on who's paying him. And it's nothing personal if he's on the enemy's side. It's just business. He's just being paid. He will fight his friends if he's being paid enough to do so. But he'll still be friends with his friends, so long as the contract isn't to kill his friends. He won't kill his friends, but if he's being paid to, like, say, stop his friends from getting the plot MacGuffin, and he wants to get the plot MacGuffin instead to give to the person who hired him, he will fight his friends and get the plot MacGuffin first to give to the enemy. On some things, though, he will take a stand with the good guys. For example, if we have a supervillain who wants to destroy the world, Kyarel will stop him. Kyarel will say, no, you can't do that. But it's for completely selfish reasons. His reasons for helping the good guy stop the bad guy who wants to end the world is to be quite plain and simple. He lives here. He lives on the world. And if the world were to end, he wouldn't be living here anymore. So, he's very pragmatic in that regards, so he'll help the good guys stop end-of-the-world scenarios. He might help the bad guys for other types of scenarios. It all depends on how much fun he could have. I will probably say that he is going to be on the good guy's side for the primarity of this season. That might change in future seasons, as his alignment is something akin to chaotic neutral. He's not necessarily on any side except for his own. He's out for his own skin and his own wealth gain. But that's the funny thing with Kyarel. He's the type of person who would go into a bar and would rather steal the drink rather than pay for it. So what use is money to him then? He would point out that character flaw in himself and wonder why he has that flaw if he was self-aware enough to be that self-aware. But that's the funny part of Kyarel. I have too much fun writing him, and he has too much fun being written about. I hope you enjoy where he goes in the future. He's going to be sticking with us for a very long time. As I've said, in the old RP era days, he was introduced in Season 3. We are in Season 1, so, why did I introduce him early? Well, I honestly thought that as a half-demon, half-elf, he'd have been alive during this period, and I find a lot of familiarity writing about characters I know about than making too many new ones. But I will have a limit on how many old characters I make versus new characters. I'll be having a lot of new characters going forward, but through the series of this Lore Files, we're going to be talking about a couple other characters who come from other prototypes or the old RP era days. We're going to have plenty of those in the future. We're going to have plenty of new characters as well in the future. So, stay tuned and remember, be imaginative.